Hello everyone, it's been a bit of a while since the last video now. I think maybe 2, maybe even 3 weeks. I only just got around to doing a video now, so I'm going to try and recap on what's been happening and mostly focusing on the horses I've put up as bets on this channel, and even the horses that could impact some of my bets who've come out and been impressive and won. But yeah, so the first one I think it would be Chantry House. I think out of the horses that I've put up, he only won a 2-runner race against the big breakaway, so it's hard to really say anything about that contest. He showed he was alive and well, but I don't rate the big breakaway. Thought he might have been something last year as a novice chaser at one point, but he's just done absolutely nothing since, and even with the Tizzard horses bouncing back, he just hasn't. He's been one that hasn't, so he looks almost like finished to me. Like I'd never really class any of my horses beating him as like a form boost or anything special. So same with Chantry House, I'm going to have to just wait until his next run to judge him properly, which looks like it could be the King George. But like I say, he showed he was alive and well. He jumped well, he got a bit tired at the end of the race at Sandown, it was, wasn't it? And it's only early in the season. I'm not thinking Nicky will have my 100% full fitness at this stage. So like I say, we'll judge Chantry House for the Gold Cup after his next race, which looks like the King George. Me personally, I just think he might bump into 1 or 2 at Kempton. I know a lot of people see him more of it. They see Chantry House as more of a King George horse than a Gold Cup horse, but I'm the opposite. I just think maybe, even though he's had the pace to compete in a Supreme and win a Marsh chase, even though he was outpaced in that race, I just think the further this horse goes, I think he will be the better for it. And I just think Kempton, although it's a good test to jump on, I do think Chantry House is a good jumper. I can just see him bumping into 1 or 2 in the King George, especially if some of them Irish horses like Allaho or Emblem come over on Manella Inzo. But I'm not really too keen on Manella Inzo for that race either. But we'll just see what happens after the King George anyway, and we'll judge Chantry House then. Another one that I've put up was Gallyhill, who I ran an absolute stinker, so I suppose, listen, a lot can happen between now and Cheltenham. Like, halfway through the season last season, Manella Inzo would come last in February and at the Dublin Racing Festival, and then won the Gold Cup, and then Chantry House got beat by Fuso Raffles, and maybe Happy Go Lucky was it, I'm not sure, at Cheltenham, and he looked like he could rip them Cheltenham slips up for the Marsh chase last year, and then he has a bit of back surgery, he comes back and he wins the Marsh chase. So I'm not saying you can just give up on Gallyhill, but it was awful, wasn't it? I'm not thinking Gallyhill's anywhere in the same league as him in Manella Inzo or a Chantry House, so I kind of am just ripping up that bet slip at the moment for Gallyhill, but we'll stay faithful anyway, anyone that's back Gallyhill with me. And it was only 0.5 points. It was just one of them horses you take a chance on, because if he won his beginner's chase, then you're talking 25 to 1, 20 to 1 being from Nicky Henderson, coming that price tag, but he just looks like a big hype job, to be honest, so he's not on my mind anymore. So as it stands, that was a shocking selection, but like I say, it's 0.5 points. I very much doubt like 0.5 points is going to make a difference for your profit and loss when Cheltenham's finished on the Friday. So they're just speculative bets for now. Out the other horses, I think that's it. I don't think any more horses have ran which have put up, so we'll just move on to what's been happening. I think so anyway. Sorry, let me just check. But I carry on talking as I'm checking. So yeah, I'm recording this on the day of the bet first chase, and Plutard has just bolstered up. I'm not sure if he beat Royal Pagaille by any further than he did at Cheltenham in the Gold Cup, so maybe we haven't learned nothing, but it just shows the gulf really between the Irish and the English in that open age staying division. I know we have the likes of Clan de Solo that went over to Punchestown and beat the Irish, but if we're talking for Cheltenham, we haven't got much, and that was me kind of angle with Chantry House, being from the English team, that he could be the one novice to kind of put it up to the Irish, because Nicky Henderson, as much as the English struggle against the Irish in recent years, when Nicky Henderson's got a good horse, he can compete with them. He's more than capable of beating the Irish. So yeah, I just think we're hoping on Chantry House, aren't we? Because the rest of them today was just put in the place by a Plutard, and I don't think a Plutard is being fully fit, like, as we all know. Maybe you could say that about the whole field, besides maybe Bristol's and May. We all know this is like his Gold Cup. But a Plutard's only going to improve from that, and I can't have any of them horses that finish behind him reversing the form with a Plutard at Cheltenham, just no doubt in my mind anyway. So we'll just go on one of my previous videos, the description here. We've got Allaho, Ferny, Hollow, Chantry House, Gaillard Du Mesnil, Hollow Games, Concertista, Klassical. Yeah, so I haven't missed out on any. It's only been Chantry House and Gallyhill that have ran. So we'll just talk about the horses that could impact some of my bets now, this early on. And a Plutard is definitely one, because you're going to have to be banking on Chantry House to be some horse to put it up to the likes of Manila Indo and a Plutard. Because I think the 4-to-1's more than fair. Like I say, I don't know how much we learned from the race, because he probably had Royal Pagaille further back. A Plutard probably had Royal Pagaille further behind him in the Gold Cup than he did today in the Betfair chase. So I don't know how much we learned, but I just think 4-to-1's fair. He showed he was alive and well, he jumped well. And he's just, like I say, he's ran away with that race. So yeah, 4-to-1's more than fair for me. And then you've got Manila Indo 6-to-1 behind him. That's more than fair, because the two of them pulled a long way clear, like I've already touched about in the Gold Cup last year, and it'd take a fair novice to bridge that gap. And like I say, I think Chantry House, maybe Envoy Allen, if he can discover this early promise and he can handle a step up into it, can bridge the gap. I don't know, but at the moment, I think I said in the first video, a couple of people disagreed with me, and rightly so. You have large own opinions, but this time of year, you can almost whittle the Gold Cup down to 3 or 4 contenders, and maybe you could just say you could whittle it down to 2 so far this year, because, well, we haven't seen many of the horses yet, but I do think a Plutard and Manila Indo set a fair standard, and I think both of them are more than reasonable prices. What else do we have today? We have Brave Man's Game, who, listen, I think he looks serious, I think. I know he's only beaten English horses, and I don't even normally give the English horses especially the last couple of years. I didn't last year, and I'm almost not going to give them a chance again for this festival, because the Irish is just so dominated. But Brave Man's Game, I do think he can put it up to them Irish horses in the RSA, I really do. Again, he's beaten open-aged, seasoned chaser today in itchy feet, and he's jumped immaculately, Brave Man's Game. And I just think the way Nichols is campaigning him, like, he's not scared to run him in these like graduation chases and things like this. And I think when he meets the Irish Brave Man's Game this year, he's going to be up to speed, because he's been racing against Grade 1 open-age horses. I know I've just been slating the big breakaway behind Chantry House, but even on chase debut for Brave Man's Game to be Fuso Raffles, who's come out, albeit up and slip in a race that fell apart, but Fuso Raffles has came out and won the Charlie Hall chase, and the big breakaway still is there or thereabouts in the places in Grade 1s last year as a novice. So I just think Brave Man's Game, it definitely warrants my respect anyway. Yeah, like, I wouldn't be so surprised if he could put it up to the Irish. So yeah, I like to look at this Brave Man's Game, I'll be honest. And we go back to another English horse, My Drogo. Listen, he was running well against Gin Lime. Like, Gin Lime didn't really run to her best, as we all know. Like, I don't even think we really know what a best is, but I was expecting more from Gin Lime. I actually had a little bet on it, because I always just back the Irish against the English most of the time. My Drogo was going to just eat it up, wasn't he? But like, he fell, obviously, and we know what happened. We all see in the race, but I don't know, like I say, I haven't got the best feeling about My Drogo, honestly. Like, I'd more fancy Brave Man's Game to win another chase than My Drogo at the Cheltenham Festival all day long. I know, like, it's hard to throw stones at My Drogo. He was doing everything right until he fell, but no, he just wouldn't be on my mind for now, especially when we've just had Bob Olinger come out and win the race today as I'm recording this video. I thought that was quite an interesting race. Like, I think the points being made about Envoy Allen falling at the Cheltenham Festival last year, because he'd just been hacking round small fields, dominating small fields. And then it was a bit of a culture shock when he was jumping at pace in the Marsh. But I just think already that race Bob Olinger contested today, forgive me if I'm wrong on ratings or anything like this, but Ashdale Bob and Bacardi's, they're not bad horses, and they pulled clear, didn't they? And I just thought Bob Olinger was right up there at the front end. I thought he jumped okay for the most part, he put himself right, he looks intelligent, and no use of the whip, just a little shake by Darren O'Keefe, and he was gone. And I was more than pleased with Bob Olinger. And I don't think the bookies cut him either, which is right, obviously. Like, we need to stop cutting these horses at what the bookies do after beginners chases, because you've just got no chance. Like, half your gets have got to be guesses some of the time, like most of the time, because you're placing bets on horses before they've jumped a fence, because of course you don't get a chance to back them afterwards, but he's still 11-4. I think that's fair, because you've more than likely got only appreciated Ferny or Allaho in that race. You're only going to get one of them, aren't you? And they've got to go get their fit, but of course so is Bob Olinger. And obviously my Drogo, listen, you can't start just knocking him, but I'm kind of bad for this. If I don't like a horse, I just forget about him. And listen, my Drogo, the way people speak about him and the way he was as a novice hurdler, I suppose, like, I don't think his form was not amazing, but of course you can't just rule my Drogo out, it'd be foolish. But in my head at the moment, I've got Bob Olinger versus one of the Willie Mullins contingents. Like I say, I'm hoping Gaillard Du Mesnil doesn't go for this race, and he goes for the RSA, because he'd be my version of the RSA winner or the Festival Novice Chase at this point. I actually started requesting Gaillard Du Mesnil to win a Grade 1 throughout the season with William Hill and Skybet, and they both didn't give me a price, which I'm a bit gutted about, because I like them bets. I had the 4-1 or 5-1 bet with Chantry House to win a Grade 1 last season, and you're getting a lot of chances for the horse to win a Grade 1. Like, you could have Gaillard Du Mesnil in the Flowgas Chase, or the Marsh, or the RSA, and then at Aintree, or he could just pick up a weak Grade 1 at Punchestown, or something if he was stepped up to that 3 miles at Punchestown, what Paul Reevy won last year. But yeah, I got rejected for that, but I feel like you get rejected for a lot of bets now on these requested bets. I've got a good little one rolling there. I've got about like I say, I don't bet myself in personal point systems, but just on these videos, I've got like the equivalent of 4 points on Brave Man's Game to win the Courtaulds Novice Chase on Boxing Day. And I'll have to double check, but I think it's 10-1. I'm looking a few quid, and I'd make him almost a 6-4 shot at this moment, because he looks immaculate, doesn't he? And back against novices at Kempton at easy 3 miles, a jumping test, and the Irish don't really come over. I think that Brave Man's Game 10-1 or whatever it is for the Courtaulds Stars looking well. I hope so anyway. I had a bet today, I only done it treble. I had Brave Man's Game, Bob Olinger deployed the getaway, like just 3 bang on favourites, but it was unlucky that that deployed the getaway, got nabbed the last 50 yards, didn't it? And it drifted to 3-1, so it was been a nice payout. And then, yeah, like I say, I don't bet much this time of the year. I done a Heinz at Cheltenham a week ago, and that went okay, to be honest. I got like Gowell Rose, can't remember who I've backed on this already now, Night Salute, a couple. I got 3 out of 6 winners, so I'm just kind of feeling out, just a little feeling out process at the moment. Like I said, I don't want to waste free money in September, October, November. We're in November already, aren't we? It's crazy. I was thinking September for a second then. And I hate wasting money this time of year when I think it's very hard to back a winner, when I can just save it for the pot for Cheltenham, where your horses are all 100% life, aren't they, and ready to go. So I'm just trying to have a little extra think now off the top of my head what's been happening the last couple of weeks. But yes, Benillier come out and won a 2 mile 6 chase at, was that Punchestown last week for the Morgiana? It was, wasn't it? And listen, that Benillier, I don't like him for the RSA, I'll be honest. Like, I just think if the RSA was on the new course, you couldn't rule him out, because this horse stays all day. But people think you need to stay to win a RSA, and if the RSA was on the new course, I'd agree with you, but on this old course, it's quite like bendy, isn't it? And it's not like, if that's the right way to describe it. And I just think the way it kind of like caught Manella Indo and like out a bit, and you have like a bit of a maybe faster horse like Champ. I don't think it's such an emphasis on stamina, the RSA. It could be wrong, but I just think Vanilli is going to get outpaced in that race, and if he stays on, I think it'll be too late. It's looking hot as it is. Like I say, we haven't seen Galopin de Champs, Gaillard Du Mesnil, any of the Willie Mullins horses. I mentioned it, like, obviously, I'm not saying I've mentioned this horse to win, it's not like anything like this, because I've mentioned about 20 in the RSA, but I did say I was really interested to see Farouk Delaine jump a fence for Gordon Elliott, because I backed him for the Albert Bartlett last year, and he beat Vanilla in Limerick over Christmas. He looks a chaser, he looks a stayer, he looks classy. Even in his bumper days, he had a brilliant attitude, the way he used to fight, and really put his head down and race. But it's only words, obviously. Gordon Elliott's came out since and told us that he thinks Farouk Delaine is one of the smartest novice chasers he's got in the yard, or he might have even said one of the smartest horses. And I think he's been cut from 33s to 20s for the RSA since, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on in the RSA. I'll be keeping a close eye on him anyway, and in my own personal bets, like, I might have a little, I've had a little, only £5, literally at 33 to 1. just to get that price in, so if it does end up being 3 to 1 on a day, I've got a fiver, like I say, at a big price. But the RSA is the race I've backed the most horses in. I'm heavily involved in it this year already, but like I say, if one wins, it's profit, because they're all 30 to 1 plus what I've backed mostly. And it's, but yeah, like I say, Brave Man's Games come out and looked very talented, so that RSA division, it's not looking weak anyway, so I just think I can't have an Elliot as the winner for that, but you can come back and laugh at me if he wins in March, and if that's the case, but at this moment, and I think all season, he wouldn't be for me anyway, in the RSA. And then we had the Morgiana hurdle, where, listen, I was big on Charger for this. I know it's after timing, but like I don't really go off ratings, I know you should, but just visually and what they've achieved. Zana here, it's always going to be hard as a 5-year-old, wasn't it? And Echoes and Brain, yeah, like she's a nutcase, isn't she? And listen, we know Honeysuckle beat Charger. Charger is not going to improve past Honeysuckle. Again, like we all know this. We all could be wrong, you know what I mean? So we'll just have to wait and see, but that just looks like Honeysuckle. If Honeysuckle, you're taking 7 to 4 for Honeysuckle to get there, aren't you? It's seriously weak division at this moment, and Charger's just absolutely laughed at the 2 and behind. I don't think Zana here's a supreme horse, and I definitely don't think Echo and Rain's going to be good enough to challenge in this division at all. And I think that's most of the main thing. Oh, and I'll have a little mention as well. That the Big Giant's a monster, isn't it? Because the only reason this was on my mind is I've done a Trixie, Vanilla, Charger and Cool Survivor, and I was waiting on Cool Survivor in the bumper, and it's odds on Jigginstown, Gordon Elliott in the bumper. I think Gordon Elliott also had, I can't remember the name of it now, but the favourite, but it got withdrew from the race for whatever reason. It left Cool Survivor odds on, and I'm just thinking, hey, it's going to just be a walk around this, because Jigginstown has started to narrow down, as we all know, and stop buying new horses, and the fact he bought Cool Survivor, I thought, was this too good to leave? So I was almost counting my money, and then this Big Giant is absolutely laughed at the whole field. So I just think that Big Giant, if that is his name, because I'm not even really well educated on him, but he won the bumper at Punchestown anyway last Sunday. He looked a serious tool, him, and he's way worth keeping an eye on, because I don't think he's from a top stable. It might be Peter Farhiam, I'm not sure, no disrespect, but he's not from like a Willie Mullins or a Gordon Elliott, so it's definitely worth keeping an eye on that Big Giant, because he hacked up there the other week at Punchestown, and you might still get a price on him because he's not at one of these bigger stables. But yeah, I don't want to just start umming and ahhing. I've probably missed out a lot, but just off the top of my head, that's all I've been thinking about really. And yeah, so I'll just move on now to a couple more bets that I want to put up. And the first one is 1 point for Phil Dore. I don't know what to say it. Like, I don't know what to say this. Phil Dore, it won at Down Royal. I should have really kind of got money on this horse myself before these videos, but I've only just literally backed him, like maybe last week or something like this. I can't remember now. But I said in one of these previous videos, take the prices, even if it's just a little fiver or a lucky 15. These Gordon Elliott horses, as we all know, at Down Royal, start of the season, are usually his best horses. For a good point just towards the Cheltenham Festival. I won't go over it again. I touched on it obviously in the last video or a couple of videos ago before the Down Royal meeting, and we all know this anyway, I'm sure. But I didn't bother. I even ended up doing a lucky 15 in the end. I normally do the last couple of years, like I've explained, but I wish I would have got on this Phil Dore now, a little fiver or something on, or a tenner. I think he was 33 to 1 before he ran, and now he's 8 to 1. I took 10 to 1s last week or something like this, or 12 to 1, I can't remember. And I'm going to put him up now at 8 to 1, because, listen, we all know, Gordon Elliott always wants winners at Cheltenham, and he's brilliant at getting winners from Cheltenham, but he's going to want them extra this year, isn't he, after missing last year's festival, not training the horses in his name anyway. And I think I heard that he's going for the race at Ferny House, is it next week, the one that Shanahan won last year. If he wins that, we know what the bookie's like. We always say he's not going to be 8 to 1, is he? He's going to be like 5 to 1, 4 to 1, depending on how impressive he wins it. I know he's a juvenile, but we haven't seen the winner of the title since January. It's not always the case, is it? It's just a boring saying. And I just think, yeah, this Phil Dore is Gordon Elliott, top stables. Again, Gordon Elliott, like, I don't know how much you take stable tours into account. Obviously, especially Willie Mullins, people like this just chat shite on stable tours and you don't learn anything, but you can almost read between the lines, and I like stable tours, they influence my opinion anyway. Not all the time, like I say, but but most of the time, I love a good stable sort, and he speaks quite highly about this Philzor, said everything comes easy to him, and I just think, like I say, most of my selections this time of year are just in trying to get the value on the good horses before they go, and look at Zana here last year was maybe an on shot or 6-4, something like this. Philzor could be the same, representing Gordon Elliott. It depends what else comes out over the next couple of months, of course it does, but I don't like the look of these English ones at the moment, like this Porticello and Magistrato or whatever they're called. And this Porticello, like people are saying, if he jumps, he's got an engine, but that's if he jumps, know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't be for me anyway. And I just think this Philzor's got the potential to keep on winning grade ones, keep on shortening, so I'm going to get 1 point on Philzor, 8-1 in the bag right now. And that's on Sky Bet and Bet365, so that's 1 point Philzor. And then my next bet is going to just be kind of one of me like little saver style bets. I back Ferny Hollow for the Arkle, but like I say, on these videos, my personal bet I've got, I appreciate it, I'm Ferny Hollow because I managed to get the bigger prices and I'm happy to go to war with both them two horses for the rest of the season now in the Arkle chase. That's another one we haven't touched on, third time lucky. I'm getting these videos out after everybody else has talked about them, so forgive me if it's hard, like I'm copying off people, but my initial thought straight away after the race was Captain Tomcat was coming to win that race. I'm not saying he was definitely going to win, but I thought third time lucky was slowing down and it wouldn't convince me third time lucky anyway. Like I said, I don't really like backing these English horses at Cheltenham anyway. But halfway round the race at Cheltenham, I was thinking, serious little animal this third time lucky. It was jumping well, it was running well, it was travelling strongly. I just didn't like the last three fences. I know a couple, other people have said this, so you've heard it all before. So I'm sure that if you're watching this video, you of course watch all the mainstream better videos. So you've heard all this before, but I agree, I don't like third time lucky, I don't like him at all. I think he's more of a, well, he's already been pointed at this race, I think, but the Kempton 2 mile one that Shishkin won last year, and then maybe go on to Aintree or Punchestown somewhere like this, I think that'd suit him more. But even though his 2 wins have been at Cheltenham, he just wouldn't convince me 100%. So yeah, going back to what I was saying, I'd be happy to have appreciated and Ferny Hollow as my Arkle horses the rest of the season, but like I say, I appreciate it's 11-4 now, so I don't really want to put 3 points on to make it worth it at this price, and then he ends up going to Marsh and I've wasted points. So what I'm going to do, I think we're basically getting 10-1 appreciate it this way, is let me just check where what site it's on, but I'm going to do 1 point on Appreciated to win the Arkle and Honeysuckle to win the Champion Hurdle. That way, if Ferny Hollow goes the way of the Marsh, we've got some, like I've put them up for the Marsh as a cover bet, so it wouldn't be a complete waste of money. But if Appreciated goes off 1-3 in the Arkle or something on the day, at least we've got him in something. So if he crosses that line 20 lengths clear like Shishkin did last season, at least it's counted for something, and then we've got 10-1 about Honeysuckle 2 races later. So I just think the best way to just get Appreciated with only staking 1 point would be to do 1 point on Appreciated and Honeysuckle double Champion Hurdle. So Appreciated and Honeysuckle 1 point double for the Arkle and the Champion Hurdle. And as far as I believe, I haven't wrote that down here, I forgot, sorry. I think that was on Sky Bet, Bet365, across the board. I'll put it in now on my odds checker. So Arkle chase, Appreciated 11-4, and then Champion Hurdle, Honeysuckle 7-4 best price. You get a 9-1 Bet365. If you can't get on Bet365, you can get 8-1 Paddy Power, 7.7, so nearly 8-1 William Hill Sky Bet. You get 8-1, sorry, on Betfair also. So yeah, around 8 or 9-1, and I just think for the sake of 1 point, that double, at least like I say, I've appreciated, and you haven't managed to get a single on because you think 11-4 could be too short now, and he could end up going to the Marsh chase. At least you've got him in something so that you're not just watching him plod round 20 lengths clear in the Arkle, if that was the case, thinking, oh, I wish I would have got on. At least it'll account for something, because then you're all Honeysuckles and it gets to the Champion Hurdle fit 2 races later, you're almost counting your money, I think. I'm bad for this, I spend my money straight away before the bets even come in, but I just think Honeysuckle looks like she's got that division at her mercy. So I just think that's a good way to include Appreciated. So that's 1 point Appreciated for the Arkle, Honeysuckle for the Champion Hurdle double, 8 or 9-1, depending on which bookies you want to you can get a bet on for. I'm going to just go 9-1 on Bet365 in the video description. And yeah, that's basically all. What have we got coming up now? I just want to say as well, I was tempted with putting up this. I'm not going to put this up, but I'm just letting you know just like what I'm thinking about putting up also, just to let you know like what I'm thinking in my head, the channel of thinking. I was going to put Kill Crew for the Supreme and Sir Gaillard for the Ballymore, 0.5 points, and then alternate it. So I was going to do 0.5 points on that, and then 0.5 points on Sir Gaillard for the Supreme and Kill Crew for the Ballymore. So 0.5 on the both different combinations, so you've got them covered no matter which way they go. But like I say, you're backing two novice hurdlers to get there, like in fitness without getting injured throughout the season. And with these Willie Mullins horses, you never know, and one of them could end up in the fucking Albert Bartlett or something. So I just thought I'd leave that one out, even though it was only throwaway 0.5 points. I just thought, even that Supreme's looking quite hot. Like they like that Mighty Potter by the sound of it, and I do like the look of this John Bon. I know he hasn't jumped a hurdle yet, but I used to love Duvan, and I just think this John Bon will be a good horse. Like, sometimes they can come with too much hype, like this Honeysuckle last year. Anyone that knows me, I just had a bad feeling about that. Like, I never wasted any money on that horse anti-post, but I did back John Bon before he'd ever even raced in his bumper. I took like 37-1 or something for the Supreme last year, just because I love Duvan, and you know what Nicky Henderson's like with these 2 milers, and I do think this John Bon will be good. I've got a feeling, but it's going to be exciting watching them all throughout the season, and we'll see what happens. But I just thought, yeah, with that Kill Crew and Sir Gaillard bets in the Supreme and the Ballymore, it's hard like this early on in the season, isn't it? Just pick them. We're saying that last season you could have picked Appreciated and Bob Olinger easy for the winners of these 2 races, but I don't know, there was just a little good feeling thinking, no, I'm not feeling putting them up this week because they haven't jumped a hill yet, it's still 5 months out, 4 months out, whatever. You've got all kinds of horses to come out, you could get injured, the Supreme's looking hot, the Ballymore probably ends up looking hot. So yeah, I was debating it, but I'm just going to leave that, but I just let you know anyway. And I've backed it personally, and like I say, I've backed a lot of horses. I've mentioned this on the first video, I'll just go over it again now. The bets I've put up on these YouTube channels, they're not even like a good reflection of what I've backed so far, because all these horses I've put up, I've backed at bigger prices, and I've got savers already everywhere. But this is just a challenge for me, really. I wanted a little hobby because I've been enjoying making these videos and getting involved with you lot in the comments. It's been great, it's been fun. But I just wanted to see that if I was restricted to a couple of bets per week, could I make money off the Cheltenham Festival? Because it's alright saying like, oh, I always win money at the Cheltenham Festival, but I almost feel like I'm cheating, because sometimes I'll have 4 horses in a race, the 4 top of the markets, because I've backed them at good prices, and you think sometimes, am I just making money at Cheltenham because I'm just backing all kinds early, and it's not really because I'm actually good at figuring out the winner. So I just thought I'll see how many winners I can get logging down on this YouTube channel. So don't want to start throwing every bet I do up, of course I don't. But yeah, we've got Hollow Games out tomorrow. I put Hollow Games up, didn't I? And he's running over 2 mile, bear with me. He's running tomorrow over 2 miles and 4 furlongs, is he? Yeah, 2 miles, 4 furlongs. Listen, you want him to win, impressively, of course you do. You want your anti-post bets to win impressively, but if he wins readily over 2 mile, 4 furlongs, and Ginto's staying on strong to take second, then it makes you worry, doesn't it, over our Albert Bartlett bets? Like, that's what I say, it's usually better to just back any race, isn't it? But this year we haven't been left any option to really do that, because the any race markets are shocking, as we all know, and we've talked about before. So I do want Hollow Games to win tomorrow, but I could almost do with Ginto running an absolute stinker, or kind of maybe, I don't know, but we want Hollow Games towards the Albert Bartlett, so I'll be watching that with a close eye, hoping that maybe he is a bit workmanlike and he's crying out for 3 miles and he makes the decision for Gordon Elliott. But Gordon Elliott did say start of the season he might start this horse off over 2 miles, so who knows how much pace it's got. So it's a sticky one now. Of course you want it to win, but we'll see what happens. And if it does win impressively, the 33-1 we've took for the Albert Bartlett, it's going to shorten again. Maybe it might even go to 12, 10-1, because that's a graded race tomorrow. And then next week we have the Fighting Fifth and the Hatton's Grace, I think. I've backed Epitants, just to let you know what I'm on already. I'm on Epitants for the fighting fifth at 9-4, I reckon that's value. Nicky Henderson's horses, I'm banking that they're all going to be significantly better this season. Like the Tizzard's horses. The Tizzard's horses were shocking last season, and we've had Fiddler on the Roof, Lost in Translation today, a couple more. Look back to the Self this year. I couldn't have that Lost in Translation today though, to be honest. Like, Fiddler on the Roof, I had a little gamble on him in that graduation chase, was it, against the Novices, but Lost in Translation, I thought he was gone at the game, but the fact he's come back and won today, I actually missed that race, unfortunately. I was just out doing something and I couldn't get connection in the shop, but he won by 4 lengths, so the fact they've got him from pulling up behind Secret Investor when he was last seen, I think, or the Gold Cup actually, it might have been, he got pulled up or something like that, but listen, he's done nothing last season and he's come back and won by 4 lengths there, so it must have been convincing. I'm going to watch it right after this. Actually, I should have really watched it before, so I know what I'm talking about, but then Tizzard's horses could be really worth keeping an eye on. We've had Eldorado Allen also come out and win. And I think Nicky Henderson will be the same. Of course, he didn't stink the gaff out as much as Colin Tizzard last season. His horses were still running well. He won at the Cheltenham Festival. He won a few Grade 1s, but it was one of his worst strike rates in years, I think. So I do think Epatante, and I'm sure David Jennings said actually, for what it's worth, on up in the ante, that they think they've got it back. But Nicky Henderson does chat a bit of shite, doesn't he, as we all know. But I think Epatante will take all the beating in that fighting fifth. Mon Mirror looks a good horse, but he'd have to be to win that as a 5-year-old. We know how much they struggle in open age this year. So yeah, I've backed Epatante for the fighting fifth, 9-4. I've backed, and I'm thinking this is next weekend, by the way. Sorry if it's the weekend later. And then Hatton's Grace, I expect Honeysuckle to win. I know she was undercooked last year. Henry said he might not make that mistake this season, and I didn't back a Plutard today because I thought, I didn't back anything because I just thought a Plutard should win. But you look at Minella Indo getting beat by Frozen. Is a Plutard going to be even revved up to win this? But of course he was. He might have even been able to just do that at 50%, but I just think the way a Plutard bolts up, Honeysuckle will be able to do the same. Where's back Classical Dream? Or I say where, I don't know if anyone's jumped on these bets or if these people fancy the same bets as me. But Classical Dream, we could do with running well. We could even maybe do with him winning, because I think even if Classical Dream won, Honeysuckle could still go and win the Champion Hurdle, of course she could, but I want to see more substance to this Classical Dream. Like I say, he only won 1 race in about 16 months, and he bolted up last season at Punchestown, and I want him to run well again here, I really do, in the Hatton's Grace, if he does definitely turn up here next week. I think Zanny here is going latest exhibition. I back latest exhibition, I think, or I was thinking about backing him anyway, for the Stayers Hurdle last year. I loved him, I backed him for the Albert Bartlett the year before. I think he always should have stayed hurdling. I think it's a bit crazy that they're choosing to go staying hurdling this season, because I think that Gold Cup's wide open. Like, we know latest exhibition stays, and he ran in the Irish National, didn't he? And I just think he could easily run into a place latest exhibition in the Gold Cup. So the fact of going hurdling, they must really fancy it. I know a lot of people think, oh, that division is a lot weaker than the Gold Cup, but I'm not so sure. Sporting John's another one that's been out since the last video, and I thought he was very impressive, kept a lot up his sleeve, and I'm not sure what he beat. I backed Crescemmer in the race and it fell. So it would have been interesting to see what happened, but you've got Sporting John, Classical Dream, Thyme Hill. So I think that division's quite hot, so the fact they're going to stay in hurdling, keep an eye on that latest exhibition, and he's more than competitive over 2.5 miles, because of course he beat Andy Dufresne readily over 2.5 miles in his novice season before he stepped up, and then he won the Chanel Farmers 2 mile 6, I think it's called, in the Double Racing Festival, and finished a close third in the Albert Bartlett. So latest exhibition, I wouldn't put anyone off a bet for him. I haven't had a saver or nothing personally just yet. All I've backed in the stays here at the moment off the top of my head was Gaillard Du Mesnil, a small saver, and Classical Dream. So we'll see what happens, but that Hatton's Grace is definitely going to be informative, and I can't wait to watch that. And what else have we got next week? We've got Phil Dorr, hopefully, if he does take up that entry, coming out and winning at Ferny House next week. I'm putting him up at 8-1, like I said, now I'll put it in the description. Hopefully he comes out and backs up his claims and can shorten a little bit more in the market for what it's worth, and just prove that he could be the top of the pile out of the Irish juveniles. And then we've also got the Royal Bonds, I think, yes. I haven't checked it, just trying to think now, sorry for being a little bit rusty. And yeah, the Royal Bonds, I'm not sure who the early entries are there. I'm guessing Mighty Potter, because Gordon Elliott liked to send Ballyadam and Hoy Allen in recent years here. And Mighty Potter does look like his standout supreme horse, and he said in the stable tour he really liked him. So it might not even be worth it if you've got any nice places for kill crew. Jump on, having a fiver on Mighty Potter at 25 to 1. Like I say, I like, you could have had a little go on him before Dan Royal at 50 to 1 or 40 to 1, whatever he was, just based on his entry for that race. I didn't, unfortunately, but I do think Mighty Potter does have a great chance in that Royal Bond if this is where he's going. And then I think I read Willie Mullins is only sending like Farout, Arctic, not Arctic Fire I want to say, but an Arctic horse, but it doesn't sound like it's any Kilt Cruise or Sir Gerhard going for this race, so it could be a race that Mighty Potter just goes and wins. I think my mate Mozzie might be going for it for Gavin Cromwell, he could be interesting. But now it'll be interesting, and a lot of pointers towards the festival next week, and we'll just wait and see what happens. So yeah, I'll try and be more frequent with these videos because, like I say, it's been a good 3 weeks now, and I just remembered then to get a little video up so I'm not too inactive just before I go out for the day, because it's still only, obviously with the time difference here, it's only 1:30. So yeah, just chilling, a few stellars, just get this video up and then go out for the day. So I'm going to try and be more frequent because I've just been rambling today. I probably haven't covered anything, so I apologise if I haven't covered anything, and if it hasn't been as fluent, or if it hasn't, the video hasn't flown as much as usual, and I've just been kind of just thinking off the top of my head. But the bets for this week has been 1 point on Phil Dore for the Triumph Hurdle, 8 to 1. 1 point double on Appreciator for the Arkle and Honeysuckle for the Champion Hurdle, 9 to 1. And that'll be all. I'll put it in the video description, and I'm going to try and get another video up after Fairy House and the Fighting Fifth. So see you all soon. Hope you're all well. Bye now.